Hey everybody, welcome to episode 22 of the R&R Show, and welcome to my co-host, Ruel Gaviola. Hey Ruel, how you doing?
Good. How are you, my friend?
I am doing A-OK.
All right.
2022 is upon us, and it's a total coincidence that we happen to have our 22nd episode as the first episode of this new year. You'd almost think I was so
I
brilliant that
love
I
it.
planned it out, but I wish I could claim that.
Yeah, in my mind you did. You're brilliant in everything you do, and I will say that you planned it. But anyways, Happy New Year. Hope you had a great holiday season, Rahdo, and I hope everyone watching did as well.
Yes.
I'm excited about this episode. We're going to be talking about our top 10 upcoming crowdfunding games on Kickstarter and or GameFound. I don't know what it is. I think it's maybe just because the holidays are over now and like we're getting into the new year. It's like, okay, now this fresh newness now. I'm ready for it, you know?
Well, that is the nature of the industry. I mean, the month of December is always a dead zone for Kickstarter stuff. When
Yeah.
it boils right down to it, because everybody's got other things they want to spend their money on. They're not going to back a game that they won't see for 2 years. That doesn't make for very good gift giving. And then to make
Yeah.
up for it, there is an explosion of stuff in January, pent up from November and December that everybody wants to rush on Kickstarter. And so we've got 10 that we're very excited about. And we actually have a bunch more we want to talk about as well. The ones that are going to be covered by the channel because myself, Shay, and Ruel occasionally do previews of upcoming Kickstarter games. So we'll list all of those. Then we'll talk about 10 more that won't be covered by the channel, but that we're very, very excited about. But before we get to any of that, we have some business to take care of, don't we?
Yes. So first item of business here is free games, contests,
Yes, free
right?
games.
Yes, a free game. So during this episode, folks, one of us is going to say a magic word or a secret word, and during that time, when you hear that word, you want to make note of the game that we're talking about at the time, and then send that to in an email to contest@rahdo.com, and you'll be entered to win a copy of
Oh, I should have been smooth and
Evolution.
ready for that. A copy of Evolution New World.
Yeah.
I'm
You
very
want to talk
excited
about
about
this?
this. I'm not going to talk about it right now because I'm about
Okay.
to talk about it I mentioned that list of games that's going to be covered on the channel. I'll have a run
Got
through
it.
for this coming soon. So I'll talk about it. But this is going to be going on Kickstarter in January. And the folks at Crowd, the publisher, have set aside one copy for one lucky winner, viewer of this show. But Ruel, they, as you said, have to listen. Or did you explain the secret word? Did you say that?
I did not say the exact word. So the secret word, folks, we're going to give you the secret word right now.
Yes.
It's cage, Cage, as in, a cage, or, our favorite actor of all time, Nicolas Cage. Listen for cage. One of us is going to say it. And then whatever game we're talking about, enter that game title into an email at rahdo.com. And you will be entered to win your very own copy of Evolution New World.
Exactly. Very, very exciting. You cannot cage these animals. Let me tell you that right now. And folks, that was not the instance of the secret word. I
That's
know
right.
we were talking about a game when I just said cage, but no, 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 no. You have to wait
Doesn't
until the
count.
top 10. One of our 10 games, one of us will say the word cage. That's the game that you have to put as the subject of the email you send to contest@raw.com. Let me put that on screen one more time. And that's how it goes. There will be one lucky winner. We will use the Wheel of Names to pick that winner on January 11th at noon. So you basically have until January 11th at 11 a.m. Pacific time to figure out who said cage and what game was it when they said it, and send that to contest@raw.com. Right. Okay.
Yes. All right.
Okay. Did I get that? Okay. Cool,
You-
cool, cool.
Perfect.
Well, then you know what, Ruel? We haven't done this for a while, but you might be wondering, hey, what's going on? Is there anything?
Yeah, you have this nice little table there with all kinds of goodies. What game do you have in front of you, my
Well,
friend?
Ruel, this is a topic we haven't done this, I think, for over a month. We used to do it quite a
Yeah.
bit. This is Free Radicals, and this is I forgot to put on the screen. We are in the What's on Rahdo's Table segment of the show. It's Free Radical. And oh my gosh, this is so amazing. This is a competitive I guess I'm going to say competitive Euro, but it's 10 games in one. Because when you set up to play, you could play as the executives, or the artisans, or the underground, or the hoteliers, or the merchants. There's 10 different factions, and each faction is playing a radically different game. If you're playing as the executives, you're playing a Moncala game, kind of like a lighter version of Trajan. If you're playing the merchants, you're playing an engine-building goods conversion game. If you are playing the couriers, you are playing a pick-up and deliver game. If you're playing as the adventurers, you are playing a VR exploration and adventure style game. What else is there? If you are playing the hoteliers, you're playing 4 copies of Tetris at once. So everybody is playing their own completely unique game every time you play. And the beautiful thing about the game is it does such a great job of making it easy. There have been other games like this, but I know they're always terrifying for people like, how do I have to teach all these games? When you're setting up the game and you give somebody the hoteliers, you give them this. There's a really wonderful summary of everything the hoteliers has to do. Oh, this is for the adventurers. All right, if somebody's playing the executives, you hand them this. It tells you how to set up. It literally gives you strategy tips, and then it just has a very quick thing that walks through all the core actions. And you're playing a Moncala game immediately. This is wonderful, and what I love about it more than the asymmetry is the fact that this is a game that highlights a bright and vibrant future world for us to live in. It's not a dystopia, it's a utopia, where everybody's needs are being met and everybody has the option to pursue whatever their life's goals are. And so I love the bright, vibrant, colorful. It isn't a gray, grim, perpetually rain-soaked world like, cyberpunk Blade Runner stuff. This is a vibrant, happy world, and that almost kumbaya nature of everybody, pursuing their own goals. In this game, you don't pursue your own goals at the expense of others, like you do in our world and in most board games. You work with other players, even though it's competitive. One of the main source of points in this game is by helping your opponents, and every faction has their own way to help each other. I am smitten with this game, Ruel, and so that's why I filmed it yesterday. And I thought, I want to talk about it some more because I just can't stop talking about it. So I left it on the table today. So, that's what's going on. Okay.
That looks amazing. And I remember you talking about this a few months ago, and when you highlighted the asymmetrical, players and everything, I was like, okay, this looks interesting. But actually seeing it on the table and like knowing that there's all these different ways to play, you got to pick up and deliver. You have the Tetris thing, and you have the engine building. Like that looks so fascinating to me, and the theme as well is really, really cool. Like as you're saying, not a dystopia but a utopia.
Exactly.
So,
More of that.
That.
Entertainment industry. I mean, I know it's easy to fall into the everything's terrible and awful these days, but how about a ray of sunshine every once in a while? How about a beacon of hope and optimism? And that's what Free Radicals is. So, yay.
Nice.
Okay, anyway, though. So we are now going to do what we came here to do. Talk about 10 upcoming crowdfunding games on Kickstarter and GameFound. Before we get to our top 10 countdown, though, I did say right up front that we have to talk about all the ones the channel's going to be covering, right?
Yeah.
I did explain that? Okay, then. Let me go on ahead over here, and let's talk briefly about Astro Knights. I'm very excited about this. This is going to be going live at the end of January. I'll be doing a run-through for it. This is a streamlined sci-fi version of Aeon's End, which is one of my favorite cooperative card games of all time. Maybe my favoriteest. And I really look forward to giving Astro Knights a go because it simplifies and streamlines the game, makes it much quicker to set up, and does some very, very cool new, I think, fairly revolutionary twists to the market economy that we are so commonly associated with Dominion. It really kind of turns that on its ear. So I'm excited about that one. And
awesome.
Let's see. All these are in alphabetical order, by the way. We then have CoLab, another one I'm going to be covering this month. This is players are mad scientists trying to create creatures in a lab. It's got really, really cool miniatures and cool dice. I think it's a dice drafting, dice worker placement game. It's got a real sense of whimsy to the art and all of that. But what really made me interested in this game that made me say, yeah, I would be interested in covering it, is in the description. It's not the components, it's not the setting. CoLab employs a series of take this mechanics instead of take that.
Oh.
Where players provide resources, minions, and other opportunities to their opponents in exchange for resources or points. Yes! We can all compete. We can all try to, pursue our goals the best without trying to hurt each other. We can help each other. We can all CoLab in our labs. And so I'm very, very excited about this. I think this one goes live in either the second or the third week of the month. So look forward to seeing that coming soon. Then there is, now I've got to scroll through all these pictures. I did not think of that. Then we move on to Dunhuang, Pearl on the Silk Road. I believe Shay is covering this one, if I recall correctly. It is a very, very ambitious game where players are landlords on the Silk Road, seeing artisans coming and going and trying to sponsor the development of artworks, if I recall correctly. It has really gorgeous art. It looks like a very big, and heavy Euro, kind of stuff that we love. And it's from a Jing Studio and designer Wu Shuang. So I don't know either of them, but I really do like the idea of Asian developers kind of taking back their heritage, and instead of having all the French and German designers making all these games about Silk Road, how about people whose it's actually part of their heritage get to do a game about that? So I think that's really exciting too.
Awesome.
Yes. Okay. Then there is Evolution New World. I just mentioned this.
Aha.
I've already done the run-through. The run-through will be going live when this goes live. It's so exciting. Evolution, as a game that originally came out, I think, in 2014, it's gone through many literal evolutions because it's gone through several different versions. This is like the 3rd edition, and it's by far, I played all of the spin-offs and the alternate versions of Evolution so far. I think this is the best it's ever been. It's a game where players are trying to develop their own prehistoric species through the evolution, and it's always been, my problem with it has always been, it's a very dog-eat-dog game. I'm trying to evolve to survive. Well, the elements, or survive Ruel, who's evolving all these carnivores who are trying to eat all my nice peaceful critters. Maybe I have to strike before he strikes me. It's always been very dog-eat-dog. The reason more than anything else I'm so excited about New World is for the first time in a decade of the existence of this game, there is now solo and co-op play available. And that makes me so happy that I can actually enjoy this wonderful. I mean, this game is on par with A Race for the Galaxy in terms of the card management and all the combo stuff you can do. But finally, Jen and I can enjoy this because we're not constantly trying to devour each other. So really looking forward to that one. And one lucky winner of this watcher of this episode's show will win a copy of this. Then we've got Jiangnan, Life of Gentry. From designer Du Wai and Mo Ideas Game Design. I'm going to be covering this one. Again, I'm very excited about it. Another very big, meaty, heavy, complex Euro with tons and tons of combo strings and actions and reactions. Looks very, very cool. Haven't played it yet, but very excited. You'll be seeing that one this month as well. And we're almost done, folks. There's so much. I said January's crazy. Puzzle Strike 2 from David Serlin. This is a sequel to Puzzle Strike. This is basically a Candy Crush turned into a board game. And I heard the original Puzzle Strike was very good, and I look forward to... this is one of the few times that Jen and I can actually enjoy like trying to punch each other, when it's just like, oh, look, I made a row and I'm sending some junk over your way. That doesn't really bother us so much when it's so abstracted. Plus, we played these kinds of games for so many years. And so looking forward to that in Board Game Forward. Hey, I'll shut up for a second because we've got Skate Summer.
Look at this, Skate Summer. Folks, I'll be doing this one here on the channel later this month, and this is from Panasaurus Games. It's, if you're into skateboarding, that whole culture and stuff, this is going to be right up your alley here. I just got the prototype recently, and I'm getting ready to learn it thoroughly and get ready for the playthrough. So that's Skate Summer from Panasaurus Games. Yeah,
you'll be doing a live stream of it, if I recall, this month when the Kickstarter goes live. So folks can watch
live without a net, folks. Yes. It's going to be a blast.
I'm sure you will pull all the ollies. Or ollies are a skate
ollie. Oh yeah, ollies. Yes. Yeah, very wow. You have an ollie reference. I love it. I'm going to be. I'll have to study my Tony Hawk references.
Indeed, yeah. You're going to have to bone up on that. To get all the hip references in when you cover Skate Summer.
Yes.
And I think we've got one more. Shay is also going to be covering Skytear Horde, which is a tower defense cooperative game trying to hold off hordes of bad guys. It's card-driven gameplay. You can play it solo or co-op, and I think the reason most people are interested because it says if you like card battlers like Hearthstone or Keyforge, you will find yourself at home here. So I think that is going to be very interesting for a lot of folks. So Shay's going to be covering that one and in this month as well.
This is going to be a good month. Wow.
It's going to be a big month. So that was that. And now, at long last, we can actually start talking about our top 10. These are other games, again, that we are very, very interested in that aren't going to be covered by the channel. Although, who knows? Things change. Maybe somewhere down the line. I mean, maybe after the publishers see how excited we are about this, maybe they'll contact us. Maybe you'd like to cover the game. Dropping hints. Anyway, I think you're kicking us off. Is that correct, Ruel?
Yeah, I'm going to kick us off with my number 10.
Okay.
Let me get this in the queue here.
Right.
My number 10, top 10 upcoming crowdfunding games, folks, is it on the... There it is. Library Labyrinth.
Library Labyrinth.
I am really excited about this for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think it's just such a cool theme. So this is a cooperative game set in a library for 1 to 5 players. And the library is actually, so your characters that you're playing are from the books in the library, and you're fighting monsters from the books in the library. So if you're walking, it's a dungeon crawl, and you're walking around Dracula, or maybe, the robots from the War of the Worlds will show up from the books, and then you take your characters and fight them and try to defeat them. And the characters are fictional and some fictional and historical characters. So you could be fighting as like Harriet Tubman, whose like ability is courage, or is it Ada Lovelace, the mathematician, whose abilities include science, coding, and logic. I mean, it's such a cool way to, I think, go into a game theme-wise. And what's the other reason why I'm super excited about this is the team behind it. So this is a team based in the UK, and it's a group of women from a different mix of backgrounds and experiences. So it's going to take, the typical dungeon crawl game experience, but it's going to put a new twist on it just from the fact that these are not your, typical designers, and I think it's a really cool thing to see to bring this game into life. I'm really excited about this. I think it's such a cool, a way, just the theme alone, right? I mean, you're in a library, books full of monsters, and then you have your books full of characters that can defeat these monsters. So that's my number 10, Library Labyrinth.
No, that is very cool. And I have to admit, I don't think I've heard of that. I mean, folks who don't know, the way we make this list is we go on the GameFound page and we go on the Kickstarter page, and there's links so you can say stuff that's coming soon, and we just look through trying to find projects that have made a coming soon page that you can go to, click on the link, and you'll get notified when the project is going to launch. So I mean, and there's like on Kickstarter, there's like 500 or 600 of them. And it takes, I don't know how long it takes you. It takes me a few hours to do this, and I'm really impressed. That sounds really cool, and I totally missed it.
Doesn't it though? Yeah, it took me a while. I dug deep for this one, and I think they're going on GameFound. Is it GameFound or Kickstarter? They're going to launch early March. I think March 8th might be the day, but you know how those things go. But so keep an eye out for it. It's still in development, and I think it's just a wonderful idea from from the design team all the way to the actual gameplay. I mean, a different type of dungeon crawl. So there it is, Library Labyrinth.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that. Gertrude Stein versus, working with Alice in Wonderland. I don't know.
That's
very cool.
Be brilliant.
All right. Well, I'm going to go a little bit more traditional board game, although I really love your number 10. I kind of want to switch these. Cool. So our number 9 today, folks, is Dead Machine Gods, which I know doesn't sound like something that you would normally expect me to talk about, and it is kind of a grim setting. Was it a strategic cyber occult worker placement game? I'm not here for the theme. I'm mostly here for the designer artist, Nathan Munier, because last year, or maybe it was the year before, he put out a game called Doom Machine, and they actually contacted us for me to cover it when it was on Kickstarter. And at the time, I kind of turned my nose and said, I just don't know if I feel like covering solo games right now. In the time since then, I have really fallen hard in love with playing solo games and filming solo games, and I am so full of regret that I did not cover Doom Machine, because it turned out to be so good. And so I am not making that mistake again. I am very much interested in Dead Machine Gods. This is a dice worker placement game. You've got dice. I think each player has 3 dice. You can play it solo or you can play 2-player, and you take turns putting your dice out on the various worker placement spots, which are a bunch of cards: the Nexus, the Heap, the Temple, what have you. And they let you gather resources and gather blueprints, effectively, for the different types of rituals and artifacts and whatnot that you want to put into play. So you're doing the worker placement stuff, following traditional, the kind of stuff you expect from I don't know, Voyages of Marco Polo, where, I roll the dice, but I'm really restricted in where I can put them and I have to be really smart. Oh, no, that space is blocked. That looks very, very solid. But what's more interesting is you're doing that to be able to put these cards into play. These cards have to be played in a 2x4 grid in front of you, and they are all about trying to position correctly so they are next to X, Y, or Z so they can score lots of points, or do set collection sorts of things. And I suspect, again, based on the previous game from Nathan, that this is going to be something really, really sharp. So I'm really keen on giving Dead Machine Gods a go, if for no other reason than to make up for my terrible mistake of a couple of years ago. So that comes in at number 9.
Yeah, that looks really cool. I'm always a fan of dice worker placement games.
Yeah.
And then you add that like tableau builder to it. Oh, that looks neat. That looks really cool. Okay, let's move on here. That was your number 8 or number 9. I'm going to do my number 8. Let me do this here. Number 8. Hopefully it'll show up.
Okay.
Shinjuku.
Ah, yes.
Shinjuku.
Yes.
So I saw this. I'm gonna right off the bat. I saw Shinjuku. I was immediately enthralled by it just because the name itself brings back some really nice memories.
Really?
Shinjuku, folks. Yeah, if you don't know, Shinjuku is the busiest rail station in the world. It's in Japan, and many years ago, Michelle and I, we went to visit Lauren. Lauren was studying.
Your daughter.
She took a year off to study abroad in Japan. So of course, Michelle and I, hey, this is a perfect opportunity for us to visit Japan. We'll go visit Lauren for a couple of weeks, and we took the train. You take the train everywhere, and Shinjuku is amazing. It's so different than here in the U.S. Like Shinjuku, it's like you go on a rail station, and it actually has like restaurant. It's almost like a mall, right? It's a big mall, restaurants, shops, and everything. And in the game, you're going to be building stores in Shinjuku, and that's the whole object of the game is to build stores and generate income. It's a network building and pick up and deliver game at its heart, and you're it's card driven. You're taking 2 actions. You're going to build a store, expand your rail, upgrade your stores, or draw cards for income, and then you can move along customers as well. I just I fell in love with the theme right off the bat, and again, positive memories of our trip to Japan, and now I want to play this game because I want to think of all those fun times we had in Shinjuku, going to all those great restaurants and shopping and doing all that. And here we can actually build our own Shinjuku rail station. So that's my number 8.
An excellent one. And that's coming on crowdfunding, you said, right?
Yes.
I believe I had originally put this on my most anticipated for Essen Spiel. Because I thought it was actually going to be for sale at Essen, but I guess it wasn't. They probably were just demoing it, and I got it wrong or something like that.
Yeah.
So this is an R&R double whammy, because I put it on a list, and now you put it on a list. So I think people definitely need to be on the lookout for Shinjuku. Yeah. Definitely.
Shinjuku, that's my number 8.
Okay, cool. Well then, let's move on to number 7 on the list, and that is Sauria. Did you see Sauria when you were looking through all this stuff, Pharrell? There's so many. Now, here's the deal. Yeah. Sauria is a dinosaur park survival game. It feels like we've got a bunch of these. It feels like we've had half a dozen Jurassic Park-inspired board games over the last few years, and more of them are coming. And here's the thing that really caught my eye about Sauria. Not that all the other ones aren't really cool, too. Not that I don't love Jurassic Park. Not that I don't like saying, life, finds a way, when we're in the middle of a game or what have you. But all the other games always cast you in the role of Dr. Hammond, the park administrator. And your job is to hire people and to build the pens and manage the science. And I don't think people watch Jurassic Park and say, oh yeah, that's the cool part that I really remember. People remember, Alan Grant and, Laura Dern and Jeff Goldblum running for their lives from dinosaurs that got out. Sauria focuses on that side of the equation, and that really gets me more interesting. Because I'll be honest, if I have one problem with all the other Jurassic Park games out there, it always strikes me as odd that in these games, okay, I do all my building of the park, and then I set up, and then we open the doors for the customers, and then half the customers get eaten. And then round 2, okay, let's try and fix all that, and then open up the doors and more customers show up. And it's like it's a fundamentally weird setup for these games. Here it makes sense. The dinosaurs are out. We're just trying to survive, and you can play as a lot of different characters: scientists, tourists, I assume, hunters, and I mean all the characters have different ways to deal with the dinosaurs, and we are just trying to survive, like Alan Grant and the rest. And I'm sure depending on who you are, you have different ways to deal with the creatures. Maybe you can cage them, maybe you can tranquilize them, and you have to worry about getting mangled hands and broken legs. So this kind of feels like the Die Hard element of a Jurassic Park inspired game, and that gets me interested, quite frankly. That projects me into the world rather than being a manager managing the world that is in such a weird state where it constantly resets. So that is why I am very excited about number 7, Sauria.
You said something here that really all of a sudden my mind just went bing. Jurassic World or Jurassic Park meets Die Hard. I love it. That's my next matchup I want, my friend.
Yes, that's what the world needs. And I mean, I do not mean to dismiss. I mean, there are a lot of really great dinosaur park management games.
Yes.
But I mean, I'm just excited about this because it's something different, and it sounds like something really, really exciting. Okay, so that was number 7. What's number 6 on our list, Rob?
Number 6. So the entire time you're talking about Sauria, I'm dying inside, and here's
my
number 6.
Oh no!
My number 6. Wait for it.
Okay.
My number 6 is Jurassic World: The Legacy of Isla Nublar.
Of course.
Everything you just talked about is in this game, but here's why I'm excited about this game. Mm-hmm. This is actually, this is based on the franchise.
This is not inspired by, this is Jurassic Park.
This is the real thing. Now, here's the thing that really piqued my interest right off the bat. This is a legacy game. This game is played over 12 episodes, yes. And it's going to recreate some of the events from the movies, but you're going to have your own, you're going to have the ability to change things. So you will actually play as Dr. Hammond, as Alan Grant, and so forth. But the decisions you make during the game as you try to grow new dinosaurs and get employees and keep visitors safe, those decisions and whatever happens with those dinosaurs are going to change the state of the game throughout the entire 12 game campaign.
Wow!
So that's why I'm excited about this. It's going to be very cinematic, and it's from Prospero Hall. For me, they have a great track record for doing these mass market games on popular IPs. They've done Villainous. They did Pan Am. What else did they do? Villainous, Pan Am, the Funkoverse games, Jaws, Horrified,
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future, yes. So they have a really good track record of making very accessible games for the general public, but with enough meat on them that I think gamers will appreciate it as well. And that's my number 6, Jurassic World: The Legacy of Isla Nublar.
You know what? Here's the deal. Everything I said in mine was me being kind of snooty because, I saw Legacy of Isla Nublar, and I thought, this is just another one. And of course, Pandasaurus is bringing out Dinosaur World pretty soon, if it's not already out. So, I mean, there's a lot of these. I'm like, I'm going to be so smart. I'm going to show how cool and clever I am that I came up with, this new take. And then all you gotta do is say one word, Legacy, and all of a sudden I want to throw mine away and go for this one because I love Legacy games. It's right there in the title, and I just didn't even see it. So, okay.
It's funny, too. Yeah. I had Sauria. I was ready to talk about Sauria, but then I was like, oh, look, a legacy dinosaur game. I got to go with that one.
That is hilarious. Folks, by the way, we have no idea what the other is going to choose. We both come up with our own independent top 10. We send it to a friend, a third party, and that person weeds out any duplicates and sends them back to us. And so I was genuinely surprised. I guarantee you, my friend is like laughing to himself because he's like, they're going to trip all over each other because he's that kind of guy. No, that is very, very cool. You really got me much more interested in a game that I was like, okay, well, I'm kind of curious because, of course, I like Jurassic Park, but I got my Sauria thing. But hey, again, if you're going to do something in this space, do something really new and original because we've had so many of these now. Legacy, that's fresh. That is something that gets me excited too. So I still think that is an excellent call, and I don't even mind that it comes in even higher at number 6 over number 7, Sauria. Okay, well then let's move on to number 5 on the list, Viscounts of the West Kingdom. And this is an expansion content. It is, what is it? I've written down here. Oh, Gates of Gold and Keepers of the Key. Is that right? Let's see here. Yes, there we are. Keeper of the Key, and Gates of Gold. Now, here's the deal, folks. The Of the West Kingdom series from designers Shem Phillips and S.J. McDonald and publisher Garphill Games. These have all three of the games, Viscounts and Architects and Paladins, were huge. Super successful games, wildly popular, won tons of awards, have fantastic art from the Miko. So, and I loved all of them. They were all very fresh and did interesting things. But I'll be honest, Viscounts is by far my favorite of the series. And so, when I saw there's an expansion coming out with 2 new boxes full of stuff that add new types of building, new types of cards, new types of characters, all that. I mean, I don't really have to talk terribly much about this. Viscounts of the West Kingdom is a phenomenal game where the entire board is a gigantic rondel that we are, a rondel meaning that you take your piece and you move clockwise around a big circular thing, moving from like space to space to do actions. But this is a triple rondel because it's a rondel within another rondel within another rondel. In the center of the rondel is the city itself that the Viscounts are trying to protect. On the outskirts is where all of the action happens. On the inside is where you gather resources. It's really thematic. It really puts you into the world. You feel like a character as a Viscount. And the original game had such fantastic components because the castle at the center of the board that fills up with all your vassals is just so satisfying. So more Viscounts? Yes, please. I could not put Viscounts, Gates of Gold, and Keeper of the Keys as number 5 on the list.
Yeah, the whole series, the West Kingdom series. I mean, Shem Phillips, anytime he puts out a game, I'm immediately interested. I've loved the North Sea series. I've loved the West Kingdom series. Now, it's funny because the Viscounts is probably my least favorite of the West Kingdom series. Yeah, I like Paladins, Architects, and Viscounts. But I'm always willing to play any of his games, and I want to see. I'm curious to see how what these expansions bring to the base game.
Yeah. I can't wait. I'm very excited. Yeah. But that was number 5. What's number 4 on the list, around?
Number 4 on the list. Let me get ready here. So this one is number 4 is Illiterati.
Excellent.
I was really afraid to say that name. I'm not going to lie. Illiterati.
You wouldn't want to look illiterate when you talked about Illiterati.
Yeah, exactly. This is from the team from Gap Closer Games.
Who is that?
They previously released a game called Rival Restaurants, which is a real-time cooking game.
Okay.
Yeah. They've taken they're doing another real-time game here with Illiterati, but it's a real-time cooperative word game. And right there, I am all in, folks. Word game, cooperative game, a real time. Yeah, like 3 minutes to spell words using cards, letters, and words. And the thing is here, you're actually battling as a team against, villains. And as you play words, you're going to knock them out. But the letters that you do not use in a round go against you, and that's going to help the villains get stronger. And there's going to trigger some events as well that are gonna harm you. So you need to get through all the rounds, and then you're going to fight like the boss monster. I think it's called like the final chapter or whatever. And that's where all the players work together again to defeat the villain. But in the final chapter, everyone has to defeat them in one time. So I think it's sort of like, from what I understand, it's cooperative until that very last round, and then everyone really has to focus on themselves. Yeah. Wow. So that's Illiterati. I'm a huge fan of word games, paperback, and then like the Paperback Adventures that's supposed to be coming out. That's an awesome game.
Oh, it is. It's fantastic. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And this sort of reminded me of that, but with a real-time twist to it. So that's Illiterati from Gap Closer Games.
Yeah, that is an interesting one. Of course, now, real-time gaming is not for everybody, obviously.
Correct.
But you think it's going to work out pretty well. I mean, I guess it helps that for the majority of the game, it's a cooperative game. So, we're working together. So that tension can be spread around amongst everybody and get you warmed up for that last round.
Yeah, and that's now I didn't I don't think the full rule book is here, but from what I remember, what they did with Rival Restaurants, it was real time, but then there was like there was like real time for one part of the game, and then there's a lot of like non real time elements as well, so you can sort of plan out stuff and then go through the game. So I'm curious to see if that's how it's going to be for Illiterati as well, where it's got a little downtime. But anyways, I'm definitely going to pick this one up. I love word games. Michelle and I enjoy word games. And in fact, fun fact, Michelle and I, when we started dating, Scrabble was our go-to back in the day. But now we play all kinds of different word games. So
Yeah.
that's my number 4, Illiterati.
Excellent. I'm glad you put that on. I saw it and I thought about it because I, for the longest time, was a guy who said, "Yeah, word games, can't stand them. Scrabble brings me back, gives me, hives and stress from when I was a kid trying to play with grown-ups and just feeling like an idiot and stuff like that." But then paperback really turned me around on that.
Nice.
It was such a breath of fresh air, and now I love the idea of merging really cool Euro mechanisms with word games. And this looks fantastic. I didn't know the pedigree that they've already done this and done it well, so they're building on strengths. So that all sounds fantastic. I'm glad it's on the list.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. Then let's continue on to number 3 on our list, folks. We're getting close to the end. So let's talk about Solar 175. Shall we? Okay.
Yes.
Here's the deal, folks. This is our second legacy game for the day. Apparently, Ruel and I are cuckoo for legacy, and I'm very, very excited about this. It is corporations compete in a dark dystopia. What are you willing to do to win? Okay, I admit I'm not crazy about the dystopia thing after I talked so rhapsodically about the utopia that's on my board, but I'll accept a dystopia. It's fine. We can be a little bitter about the future instead of excited about the future. But what I am excited about this game is the fact that it is a legacy game. Oh, and apparently there are no pictures. All right, then we will just stick with the box art, which is very nice looking. No pictures on Board Game Geek. That's a shame. But this is a legacy game. This is, well, imagine Orleans as a legacy game.
Yeah,
that's what we've got here. This game definitely takes inspiration from the one of the biggest modern Euro classics of the last decade. Orleans was such a huge hit for DLP. Orleans, I think, is going to be getting a new super deluxe version coming out this year, later on in the year. People still love Orleans. People, are playing it, talking about it. It's expanding all the time because its core gameplay was so fantastic. Really popularized the idea of bag building worker placement. Solar 175 is a bag building worker placement competitive game as well, set in a future Blade Runner style world where game after game after game, more stuff is unlocked. The world changes. It evolves in permanent ways. And for folks who are worried about it, this is not one of those legacy games where after it's done, you throw it in the trash. After it's done, you have made a finalized, unique version of the world that you will be able to continue to play, like you can continue to play Orleans. So I love Orleans to death. I haven't seen any new Orleans stuff for a while. And honestly, I did have some problems with some of the design elements of Orleans that were never really cleaned up. So I'm really excited about Solar 175 for a new group of designers to take a stab at that core idea and do new, interesting things. Like, one thing I do know that is very different is it includes an area control game as well. That's a sizable portion of the game, which, of course, was not part of the original Orleans. So I look forward to seeing what else is going to be available in number 3, Solar 175.
Yeah, this one was actually on my list as well.
Was it?
And
okay.
it was high up on my list, and I'm glad that you covered it because bag building, legacy game, yep, I'm immediately interested. And I love the sci-fi theme as well. So yeah, that one looks so good.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, well,
let's
number
move
two.
on to
Number two.
My number 2, let me update this here.
Okay.
All right, my number 2 coming up is Last Light.
Okay.
I am fired up about this game, friends. So this is actually from Roy Kennedy of the Dice Tower.
Oh, is this Roy's game?
This is Roy's game.
Oh my gosh!
It's a 4X game. Now, here's the thing with 4X games. When I think 4X games, of course, I think about my favorite game of all time, Twilight Imperium, and An All-Day Affair. What Roy has done here has taken the 4X experience and streamlined it down to a 60 to 90 minute game, and I am so fired up about this. It's got 3D planets, a rotating board. You've got simultaneous action play. I know you like that simultaneous actions, Rahdo. So you're going to mine for resources, explore planets, gain tech, and then command your fleets to go around and take over the galaxy. This type of game, it hits everything I like about gaming. It's obviously it's a little more in your face than other types of games, but 60 to 90 minutes, folks. You usually don't get that in 4X games. You know, I'm thinking, again, Twilight Imperium takes all day. Another one that I really enjoy is Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. And I know that Roy's a big fan of that game. And that one usually takes a few hours as well. So I'm excited for Roy. Again, I believe it's his very first design. It's been picked up by Gray Fox Games, and it's coming to Kickstarter.
Which is a great publisher, by the way. The folks at Gray Fox, they put out fantastic games. After the Empire last year, that was a big hit and an incredibly well-produced game, too. So, I mean, you look at this and you say, oh, there's a lot of complex, literal moving pieces here, but you can feel pretty confident that Gray Fox is going to be able to pull it off.
Yeah. So I'm excited for Roy, and I'm excited for Last Light. That is my number 2 on our games, top 10 crowdfunding games.
That is very cool. Yeah, I remember that hearing that Roy Kennedy, like Roy Kennedy, the skinny guy, the spiky-haired guy from Dice Tower? And so I've heard very, very good things about this, and I totally forgot about it. I admit, I saw this and I saw 4X, and like, oh, okay, at least it's only an hour long, but it's still 4 hours of the exterminating part. But of course, as you said, you love that stuff. You want to marry it. You love so much. So that makes make no mistake at all. That seems like a perfect game for you, and I'm sure it is going to be a fantastic game for what do you call it? Gray Fox as well. Nice choice. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, folks, if you've made it this far, you're probably curious. What's number 1? I'm not going to belabor it. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm talking about number 1 of the list today is Outsiders. And that, I think, is going to surprise people because, what? I follow games. I know what's coming up. I don't know of a game called Outsiders. That's because it was formerly known as Gaijin. This is a new game coming from Awaken Realms. It will not be on Kickstarter. It will be on GameFound. Not surprising because it's coming from Awaken Realms. And this is a cyberpunk future world where, well, it is more of the Blade Runner, but at least it's colorful Blade Runner. And there are 2 maps that we're playing in. There is the city map, the meat world that we're moving around. And at the same time, we're also dealing with the cyber world. There's a network map. And I think that's what originally captured my attention with this game when I first saw it many months ago, and this has been coming for a long time. There's a huge number of people here on GameFound who have already marked that they are following it because they're excited when they get it. And by the way, folks, if you also follow it, I'm not going to put my email address on screen for everybody to see if I were to follow it. If you're at all interested in this, definitely follow it. You can follow the links down in the show notes to get to the page where you can follow. And by the way, there are links for all the games we've talked about today. I should have said down in the show notes below if you want to know more about any of these games. Anybody who follows is going to get, where is it? It's somewhere on here, a free bonus add-on. Okay, it's not on here. It's on a different page. But there is a free bonus add-on that you can get that otherwise, if you try to back during the show, it'll be, you'll have to pay a little bit extra. It's like an extra board that keeps track of stuff for you and whatnot. So that's very, very exciting. What I'm really more excited about than anything else in this game, well, I do love, the huge splashes of color and all of that, is these 2 boards. Because I'm a big Stefan Feld fan, and not a lot of people remember Aquasphere. I think it's a fantastic design, but one of his lesser knowns. Have you ever played Aquasphere?
I love Aquasphere. Yeah,
I love Aquasphere.
I remember that game, and they also did a roll and write version of it.
Yes, they did. Remember, yes, that's true. Yeah. And both of those
Yeah.
games, the central conceit of them was that there were literally 2 different games going on simultaneously, because you had the programmer who was, programming the AI for your underwater base, and then you had the scientist who was actually in the underwater base. And these were like 2 different games that you had to deal with simultaneously. You had to make sure your program was setting stuff up for your scientist. You had to make sure your scientist was doing all the stuff that the programmer set him up for. And that synchronicity between both sides of your brain almost just tickled my fancy. And I've seen very, very few games that do it. So when I saw that Outsiders was doing it, I was very, very excited indeed. I have not put this on. I've seen this months ago. I could have put this on previous episodes of the R&R. We're excited about upcoming Kickstarters. But there's 2 things. One, I think it's actually coming now. I think they're going to be launching in February. So 6 months ago it was a long ways off. So it was too early to talk about it. But 2, totally as an aside, I am very excited about the fact that Awaken Realms took feedback from the audience who, there were a lot of folks who were very concerned about the term Gaijin, which in Japanese language is It's a controversial term, let's say. Strictly speaking, it just means outsiders. That's what it translates to. But in common usage, it is a very othering word that is used to divide and separate people. It is actually a very charged word in regular Japanese language, so much so that they don't say it on the evening news. It's kind of banned from network television because that's just not a thing you say in polite company. And when Awaken Realms, they actually went out and they consulted with Japanese language experts in their own country, and they said, they said, well, you know what? Yes, even though we've already pumped money into the marketing for this game and we've done, mock-ups for everything, we put a lot of money here, we think it's the right thing to do. So officially, they just announced this morning that they are changing the name to Outsiders, and I was like, bravo, well done. I was already excited about the gameplay. Now I'm excited about the steps that the publisher has taken to make sure it's as opening and inviting a game for everybody as possible. So, I mean, that is a great way to ring in the new year as far as I'm concerned.
I agree 100%. Yeah, that's, again, I'm loving the fact that publishers are listening
Yes.
and, doing the right thing. I love that. And yeah, I'm excited about this game too, especially with the new title and everything. But the game just looks cool and I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's it, folks. 10 very, very cool games. Publishers, call us. We are obviously interested in these games. Plus a whole bunch more that are going to be covered by me and Ruel and Shay on the channel over the next few weeks. So 2022 is starting out with a bang. And you know what?
Yeah.
It can start out for a bang with you too if you caught one of us saying the secret word, cage. Did you hear it, folks? If so, send that what game was it? Send the name of that game as a subject to contest@rahdo.com, and you can win a copy of really one of my of everything we just talked about. I'm so over the moon excited about Origins New World because of that new co-op mode. While it still holds on to all its teeth, if that's what you want. So that's it, folks. Ruel, you got any closing words before we say goodbye to the folks?
No, just I'm just as we did this episode, talking about the games, I am really excited. I think again, it's just coming off the holiday. We're refreshed, and now we've got all these great new games to look forward to. I'm pumped. It's going to be a great 2022, my friend.
Okay, yeah, I think so too. And that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again in another month with another list of very, very cool upcoming crowdfunding games. And I want to say thanks everybody for watching. Have a nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.